This is Michael Popok, Legal AF, with breaking news. Donald Trump is at it again, trying to play games and play off three separate judges, two federal and one state, off each other to try to get the ultimate delay, get himself over into campaign season, and try to avoid these trials, these civil trials against him, while he continues to fight off all the criminal possible indictments coming out of New York. New York is a hotbed and a hot plate for Donald Trump, and he's trying to, juggle a chainsaw, a feather, and a bowling ball all at the same time. What's going on now? He's trying to get the trial involving the New York Attorney General, which is in state court in front of Judge Engoron, for civil fraud against him, all of his children, and all of his organizational components for $250 million civil fraud case. That case was scheduled by the judge 2 months ago. He just declared hell or high water, his words, trial is going to be in October. Okay, you got that case scheduled for October. You've got another case in the federal court system brought by Jean Carroll, former reporter, journalist, who claims she was civilly raped, sexually assaulted by Donald Trump in the dressing room of a department store in New York in 95 or 96, and that he defamed her both while president and after president. That case is going to trial in 4 weeks, April the 10th, in front of Judge Kaplan. The third case you haven't heard too much about is another Southern District of New York federal case in front of Judge Schofield, and that one involves a multi-level marketing scheme, Reed pyramid scheme, which was led by Donald Trump and his children, involving phone cards and telecommunications. It was all BS, and there's a civil fraud case, class action, brought in front of Judge Schofield related to that. Now, Judge Schofield already moved her trial at the request of Donald Trump into 2024 and out of the slot of the end of 2023, because Donald Trump said, I've already got another case in 2023 towards the end, which is the October civil fraud case. So, Judge, can't you move me into 2024? But follow these chess pieces. He wants to move as many cases as he can into 2024. So when 2024 rolls around and his campaign, hopefully to disaster, to nowhere, is in full swing, he can use that as an excuse to continue to delay. But there's lawyers like Robbie Kaplan, who represents Jean Carroll, who is watching all of these chess pieces and reporting it to the various judges so that Donald Trump doesn't get the benefit of more delay. So you've got the case involving the class action telephone communication pyramid scheme moved to 2024. Hold on to that. You've got the current case that's going to trial in 4 weeks. In 4 weeks in front of Lewis Kaplan, federal judge, for Jean Carroll's case. That's not moving at all. The last part that Donald Trump would like to move is the case that's been brought by the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, for $250 million and effectively the death penalty, corporate death penalty, against Donald Trump, his children, and all of their business entities, to put them out of business once and for all in New York. That case is scheduled before Judge Engoron for October. But now we have a new filing by Alina Habba and 4 other law firms who now claim at the very last minute, just 2 weeks before the end of discovery related to depositions, which are questions and answers under oath, that they don't have enough time. Now, they've had more than 7 months since the filing of the case. They've always known that this case was going to be fast-tracked. They've got 4 law firms and Donald Trump with his assets involved. And so we've already been in front of Judge Engoron on numerous occasions, including in November when he set the trial for April, knowing all of these things. Now, Donald Trump, because he wants to try to get all these things over to 2024 and argue for another delay, he's saying, I got 11 million pages of documents to look at. I need 30 more depositions, and I haven't taken any depositions. And this would be a violation of my due process and fair play, Judge, if you force me to go to trial in October when I'm not ready. That just got filed by Alina Habba, the lawyer for Donald Trump and all the others. But the department, the New York Attorney General has fired back and said, these are all self-inflicted wounds. You've had the case, Mr. Trump and Ms. Haba and all the other lawyers involved for over 7 months. You've had my complete file for over 3 months. 85% of the documents that you're complaining about are your own documents. You've had the production. These are your accountant records from Mazars and Company. These are your tax returns that you had full access to. So the New York Attorney General is being very defiant here. We're firing back at Donald Trump, I should say, and telling Judge Engoron, this is not something that you should even possibly consider. We got to go to trial. As you said, hell or high water, there is continuing fraud. And even though there is an independent financial monitor in place, which happened several months ago, which is keeping an eye on all the financial transactions of the company, the New York Attorney General is claiming there's ongoing fraud by the Trump organization. So she wants this trial as quickly as possible. Now, where is the game playing coming in as Judge Engoron considers this new motion to modify his pre-hearing conference order and reset depositions and discovery in the case and push the case out 6 months? 6 months would push the case out to April of 2024. We're now in full campaign swing. Now we're on top of the trial that I told you about in front of Judge Schofield, which is also in 2024. So again, this is the gambit. Watch, this is the 3-card monte. Watch the shell game. Trump is trying to get everything over to 2024, playing judges off each other who don't really talk to each other, especially when one is in a state court system and 2 are in the federal system. So Robbie Kaplan, lawyer for Jean Carroll, in a very unusual approach, but one that I applaud, sent a letter to both Judge Schofield and Judge Engoron, 2 judges she is not in front of, right? She's in front of Judge Kaplan for her case, and said, and we will put this letter up on the board, told the judges, you're being played. That as Donald Trump gets closer and further into his campaign, he is going to come back to you and say 2024 doesn't work for him either because he's a current candidate for office. Don't be played. Don't move your cases. And Engoron is right now considering a request, which obviously Robbie Kaplan knew about, by Donald Trump's lawyers in that case, to whether to move the civil fraud hearing or trial out of October to something in 2024. And here's Robbie Kaplan coming along saying, Judge, I know I'm not in front of you. I'm not involved with these cases, but I am involved with other cases. And be forewarned, you're getting played. Now, we're going to have to see what Judge Engoron does about this. He's always run a pretty tight ship. And I'm not sure he's going to take too kindly to the letter by Robbie Kaplan, but I think it was certainly worth the effort. Judge Schofield, on the other hand, is taking it seriously, and she's given the parties until the middle of March, just another week, to respond to Robbie Kaplan's letter. And the question on the board is, are you playing me? When a federal judge in a black robe looks at parties and asks if she's being played, that's a bad place to be for Donald Trump and his lawyers. And it's going to draw a line in the sand right now. Hopefully Judge Schofield's going to say, I moved your trial once because you told me you had the other trial for the civil fraud case that you had to handle in October. But if then the lawyers there are asking to have that case moved to 2024 and you played me, I got a problem, and you may be going to trial faster than you want in the case involving the multi-level marketing pyramid scheme. So you got Judge Schofield looking at this issue, you got Judge Engoron looking at this issue, and you got Judge Kaplan looking at this issue, all put on the table by Jean Carroll's lawyer. So let's look at a prediction here. I don't think Judge Engoron is going to find compelling the argument raised at the very last minute, 7 months into the discovery process in this case, that Trump needs more time for the civil fraud defense. As a judge I know well, who passed away, once said very eloquently, and she posted it on the door of her chambers before you entered, your bad planning is not my emergency. And that's what we have here. We've got Donald Trump pussyfooting around, dragging his feet with his lawyers, not spending the money to go hire appropriate vendors and consultants and document review companies to review the documents. And there's plenty of them out there. You can hire companies that will throw dozens and dozens and dozens of document reviewers onto a set of data and sort it out for you and put it on a database and put it on a spreadsheet so that you can use it for your depositions and your discovery purposes. It looks like Donald Trump's not done any of that. And that's what the New York Attorney General is pointing out to the judge, which is, why are we being penalized? You told everybody in November this case is going to trial in October. You reminded everybody in February that this case is going to trial in October. So why are we here a month later being asked for a 6-month delay? I don't think Judge Engoron is going to give her a 6-month delay. He's going to have to consider whether he is undermining due process and the right to a fair trial, even though it's civil, in making his decision. And if they don't like that order, they'll take it up on appeal. But he's been taken up on appeal half a dozen times, and he's won every time in front of Donald Trump. So I don't think that scares him. I think the First Department Appellate Division in New York thinks very highly of Judge Engoron. And I think they're going to think very highly of his decision, whatever it's going to be. We'll follow it on our midweek edition of Legal AF, the top-rated political and legal podcast on the MeidasTouch network. We do 2 shows, one on Wednesday and one on Saturday. And about every day, I do a hot take just like this one at the intersection of law and politics to bring you up to speed. If you like it, follow me at MS Popok on all places you get social media, including Twitter, and follow the show, Legal AF, on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Michael Popok reporting.
Our blue wall stopped the red wave and election deniers got denied election. That's why we're celebrating with the new Democracy Prevails team. We've got lots of work to do, but we should all be proud that when democracy was tested, democracy prevailed. You've earned this. Don't wait. Get yours right now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.